Hello, how are you? Many people tell me that it's getting harder and harder to sleep, to fall asleep, to have a restful and high-quality night's sleep. So today I've brought you two scientifically proven techniques that will help you fall asleep very fast. In fact, these techniques are used by the military, by medical professionals, nurses who work on call in shifts and need to sleep at that specific time. So you're gonna love knowing this. Stay until the end, you won't want to miss it. Before we start, I want to ask if it takes you a long time to fall asleep. Are you one of those people who puts their head on the pillow and stays like a pancake turning here and there all night long? Or no, you hit the bed, put your head on the pillow and just pass out? How does that work for you? I'll love to see your comment. If you can, go ahead and leave a like on the video. It's very important to me. Any like helps me a lot here on the channel, especially because it shows YouTube that you support and trust my content. Now, if you already know someone who struggles to sleep, share this video. You could be helping that person a lot. To first understand how these techniques work, it's better to understand why, after all, the body sometimes doesn't shut down when we want it to. It would be so good if it were like a light switch. If we could just click, turn off, sleep, click, turn on when I want, but unfortunately, it's not always like that, right? Our nervous system has two main modes of operation. One is the sympathetic system, which I joke isn't sympathetic at all because it always leaves us in that ultra alert mode. It prepares our body to act. It increases the heart rate, it makes the muscles tense, and leaves our mind more vigilant, more active there. The other is the parasympathetic system, which is the complete opposite of the sympathetic, that is, the rest mode. It's what allows us to relax, digest better, and sleep. And insomnia usually happens when a person tries to sleep with the alert system still on. In other words, the body is tired, but the brain can't receive that signal that it's safe, it's okay to relax. You can be at ease, you can fall asleep, stay there for hours and hours relaxed without danger. So this is an important point. It's no use lying down with just a tired body and a very restless mind because we won't be able to sleep. What works is trying to relax the mind and body so the body and especially our brain understand it's safe to sleep and that will succeed. Patricia, but why are you talking about sleeping? Why is this so important after all? If one day I'm more tired, it doesn't have much impact on my life. Does it? Yes, it does. Especially when we can't sleep well for many weeks and months, we know this has a direct impact on weight gain, hormone secretion, blood sugar control, blood pressure, and cardiovascular health, and also on food choices. People who sleep poorly usually eat worse and more throughout the day, having more difficulty with weight control. They're tired, they can't exercise, so it all snowballs. Sleep is fundamental for our health as a whole. These techniques are very interesting. In fact, they are the gold standard used for those who need to treat insomnia. This first technique I'm going to tell you about is a technique based on cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia. That is, it's a technique widely used by professionals who treat people with insomnia, and it's 100% natural, safe for you to test at home. In fact, as I told you at the beginning of the video, it ends up being widely used by military personnel who are sometimes in an extremely stressful situation, need to sleep, and need to have good quality sleep. Widely used by doctors, nurses, firefighters, police officers, people who work shifts, on call, and who have that time to sleep. Sometimes you don't want to sleep, but you need to sleep at that time. So let's take advantage of what science brings us here that's proven to be able to relax our bodies. After I explain the two techniques, I'll also tell you about some saboteurs that can prevent you from being able to do these techniques, so it's important for you to watch. Let's talk about the first technique, which is that gold standard I told you about, progressive relaxation. So, before teaching this step-by-step, let me explain why this technique works. When the body is in a state of alert, the muscles are slightly contracted all the time. You know that, right? When you're more stressed, your neck gets stiff, your shoulders get rigid, even your jaw sometimes hurts. So even if you don't realize it or want to contract the muscle, the body is more contracted, raised shoulders too, we can notice it. This muscle pattern sends a constant signal to the brain that we're in danger or that something worrying is happening. So this progressive relaxation works because it breaks this cycle. When you consciously relax some muscle groups, there's a cascade of beneficial responses in our body. So it decreases the adrenaline overload, reduces the activation of the sympathetic system, increases the activity of the parasympathetic, and it's as if the brain receives a message that everything is fine, relax, you don't need to be vigilant anymore. This technique especially is very good for people who lie down tired, but their body is stiff, rigid, they feel their body heavy only after a long time and wake up with that pain in the neck, in the shoulders that I told you about too. So its main benefit is to reduce this physical hyperalertness. So, to do it the right way, how are you going to do it? You lie down comfortably and close your eyes and you start to relax your muscles. Start with the face. Start releasing the muscles of the face, the forehead. Sometimes we're frowning like this. Release this eye area, go down to the jaw, relax the muscles of the mouth, the jaw. This already reduces the activation of these nerves that are linked to vigilance. Then we try to relax the shoulders, relax the neck, leave the arms relaxed, feeling less heavy. This weight is important because it indicates the reduction of muscle tone and the drop in this sympathetic activation. So when we take this relaxation to the chest area, the abdomen, the breathing will tend to slow down on its own. You'll notice that. And this is a clear sign of entering the parasympathetic state. Breathing becomes more gradual, slower. In the end, you also relax your legs, your feet, and the whole body enters a state compatible with sleep. So the feeling you'll have and the expected benefits are a heavy body sensation that comes a bit faster, that sense that you can really sink into your mattress, and also a reduction in that physical restlessness that many people tend to feel, less time rolling around in bed, and an easier transition into sleep. So of course it won't make you black out, but it makes the body enter a favorable mode for sleep to happen. Some people can already fall completely asleep when they reach the end of this technique, and others need this second technique that I'll explain to you right now, which acts more on the brain part itself. If you have difficulty noticing if your muscle is contracted or not, a good option can be for you to actually actively contract your muscle for about 2 seconds, hold that contraction, and then let go, release the muscle. So frown your forehead hard like this for 2 seconds, then release. Squeeze your arms, your fists, and then let go, because this gives a message of muscle relaxation to your brain and it starts to enter this more relaxing mode. Let's talk now then about the breathing technique that is often used in a complementary way to this first technique. The second technique then has to do with breathing, which is that breathing 4-7-8. So it's very interesting because it regulates the autonomic nervous system. The central point is this number because it's related to prolonged exhalation. So when we exhale, release the air slowly for longer than we hold the air, then we pull the air in, we activate the vagus nerve, which is one of the main ones responsible for reducing the heart rate, lowering blood pressure, decreasing the release of cortisol, and calming those areas of the brain linked to anxiety. So this breathing is very good. If you have many racing thoughts before sleeping, have difficulty falling asleep, you wake up in the middle of the night and can't go back to sleep, do this technique here, which is very cool. So its main benefit is to decrease this mental hyperalertness. So how are you going to do it? You inhale for 4 seconds. Try not to take those very short breaths. No. Then you hold that breath for 7 seconds and finally exhale slowly for 8 seconds. You inhale faster than you exhale. You spend more time letting the air out. So after 3 to 4 cycles, you'll notice that mental racing decreases. There's a greater sense of physical calm. It's related to hormone secretion, decrease in heart rate. The heart starts beating more slowly, and you have fewer intrusive thoughts. So it's very interesting because many people who have trouble sleeping have emotional difficulties, anxiety, because nowadays everything is really very stressful, right? So it works. So if you want, you can start with this first technique of body relaxation, and then you do this 4-7-8 breathing 1. There's also another complementary technique called a discharge technique where you can intentionally let go of certain thoughts that come into your head, especially those related to actions you want to take or plans you have in your daily life. I'll explain more about that in a moment. This complementary technique is called cognitive offloading, where you dump everything on your mind onto a piece of paper so you don't have to carry it until morning. So, oh my God, tomorrow morning I can't forget to put the laundry in, to prepare whatever for my lunch, to send that email, to call that person. Instead of keeping this in your head all night long, you take a piece of paper, write down everything you can't forget in the morning so your brain thinks, okay, I don't need to keep thinking about this, worrying about this because I know it's here. So this also helps in the relaxation process. Remembering, as I told you before at the beginning of the video, that even doing these techniques, some people don't get good results because they can't pay attention to the technique or relax properly because of some saboteurs in their own bedroom in the environment where the person sleeps. So sometimes there's a lot of indirect light, blue light, light from equipment charging, so that disrupts sleep. Lots of noise, too much heat or too much cold, a very extreme temperature that doesn't contribute to relaxation. Sometimes the clothes you're sleeping in are too tight, clothes that make you sweat a lot, that are uncomfortable. So all of this can harm your sleep. I have a playlist here with many sleep hygiene tips, how to sleep better, best and worst foods. I'll leave it down here in the description for you. Tell me down here then if you already used one of these techniques. Use it and then come back to tell me here what your result was. I'll love to see your comment. Remember to leave a like on the video. It helps me a lot here on the channel, and share it with whoever will benefit. Let's expand this chain of kindness together. That's what I want here with the channel. See you next time. Bye.